All right, everyone. It's time for another weekly update. I know it's Monday, but it's also it's a holiday weekend, so the markets aren't open. They won't be open until tomorrow. So much like a Sunday, there's not going to be a lot of volume. Um, Now, for those who are members of the Discord, um, you'll recognize this trade. This is one we took here as we filled in this gap in the candle. I think we started around, just under 61,000. It got a little higher, maybe a little nervous, but came back down. We got some selling tails and came back down after taking our positions. We've taken two profit levels so far. This one, which I'll remove, and this one at 57.5, which I will also remove now. We can see we came down and we've taken liquidity all the way to this candle. Now I have a major liquidity zone below, but we're getting some bullish reactions. So let's zoom out and see what's going on. Take a look at the daily. Yeah, so we still have another target. I have another daily support here and here, one under the monthly. One of the monthly band. Let me pull up a fib, and I like this one daily level as my final target because it lines up so nicely here with that 618. They're essentially the same target. So if we come down and break this liquidity, I'm really looking for support here at the 618 at 55 146. Be another good level for a trade. I'll have an eye on that one. But we have to take into account that this could be done now. And that's why the majority of my position closed at that second take profit. Because let's add in another fib. We've hit another important one on the way down, and that's here. That's the 5 fib. Not a perfect hit, but it is close enough. And if we zoom back into the hourly, you can see where we had all these buying tails, these quick wicks down, and we've started to build up a lot of divergence. So we're gassing some of that off. And unfortunately, I was asleep at the time as we built this range here. That was a pretty good indication we were going to come back up and start testing the highs. So, what about this little range that we have? Now, on this trade, we've moved our stops to where did we put? I want to say it was 59. Yeah, 59.5. So, we have our stops here. They're getting pretty close. I mean, if you want to offload anything you got left in there, feel free to go ahead. This has been a pretty good trade so far. I got a little bit open still because I'm still wanting to see if, you know what, let me take a look, pull this volume profile across. Yeah. See, if we hit here and run over 59.2, then we'll come back up here to the value area high, and we'll see if we can't break out of the range on this one. We came under it, held under it for a while, came back, retested it for support, and it looks pretty good to head up in that direction. If we pull on a 4 hour, see we built up a good amount of divergence right on the lower end here, right under that Bollinger, and we're pushing up. Now there's not going to be a lot of volume today to push it up. I think where we head is going to be dependent mostly on market open on to Tuesday market open with New York Stock Exchange in particular. See what the other markets are looking like when the market opens, how they feel, and Bitcoin's probably going to trade in that direction. The big guys are just they're not interested right here. Let me pull up the volume. And there's just really been nothing. It's just this low quiet. Now there was less on Saturday. It has picked up a little bit since then, Sunday and today. I guess people are bored now. I don't know, ready for the weekend to be over. But there's just not a lot going on. So I don't expect this rise to be anything major yet. In fact, if anything, it looks like it's already starting to cook itself off a little bit. I was looking at the CVD chart to see if I got any good divergence going on here in the 5 minute. And I don't see anything too tasty in our current range. 30 minute. Let's see if that's got anything cooking. No, I mean, look, without volume, there's just not a lot of it's not a lot of cumulative delta volume either. Like it's just not a lot going on right now. So Bitcoin, we're just waiting to see what Tuesday looks like before we take any new positions. For me, on the low end, I want to look and see what this looks like. If we come down and take this liquidity, I want to see what price looks like when it hits that 618. For the buying side, if we move up from here, and that's a possibility, pull up a daily chart. Actually, I've got a better one. Pull up this guy. Nope. There he is. So on the daily, pull that back. We have come into our range and not far, but it is as much as it needs to go. Now, this, right? So if we want to build a butterfly here, we can build it all the way down here into this 886 or shallow. Well, can't go any shallower than that because this is we've already hit. So we're now move our minimum on this box here. So if we go any deeper than 50,735, say 50,500, just to give it a little bit of extra wiggle room, go any deeper than that, and this pattern becomes invalid. But this could be our way of getting out of this continuous lower high range. So I have to keep that in mind as well. So if it looks like it really wants to rise on Tuesday, and we get a good a good outlook on the market, this could be our ticket out of this range, make a new high, break the liquidity above, and that's how we could get back moving into our target area between 85 and 100,000. Let me pull up a fib on this because regardless, yeah, if that works out, we could come up, take the liquidity, come back down uh, for another higher low. As long as it doesn't retrace further than 618 again, it'd be dangerously close, but it would work. Or we could just hit a target one and go. Now, I have to move my liquidity sweep over. That was more across what we were looking at when we were doing the 886s. Now, we didn't hit 886 this time. We didn't even get really close to it. So that's just 3 taps there with more down. This is a strong volume candle. I can show you guys that one here. And let's pull the volume back. I don't have the volume up, but see this candle here had a strong reaction. If we pull on the weekly, it's actually a large green weekly candle. It's the only one we've had in this range. We've had 2 strong sells, and this tried to be another strong sell, but ended the week green. And I think that is significant. I do want to see a little more recovery of it. So I want to see this sea leg extend down a little further, but it doesn't have to go all the way. If it recovers, I'd say at about 5.0, about 50%, or 618, a little more than 50%, I'd be a little happier with this. But again, like I said, I want to see what the reaction is at 618, or if it looks like we're heading back up and we start breaking necklines on the hourly, such as getting out of this volume range. So breaking and holding over 59.6, basically getting back over 60,000. If we get back into the 60,000 range and hold, um, yeah, I think then we can start looking at these more bullish options again. But that's going to do it for Bitcoin for me. Let me move over to the S&P. Look at the SPY. Now the SPY has come almost all the way back up to its prior high. Excuse me, I'm going to have to sneeze. Let me mute this for a second. Okay, yeah, allergies are getting me. It's a rainy day, and every time it rains, my allergies just really kick in. If I were a better editor, I would go in and edit that out, but I'm not. I don't make videos for a living. I try, you know, this is barely even a hobby, so I'll have to have a little patience with me on that. Anyway, back into the S&P. Yeah, we're back. We're back, back up to our highs. I think we at least take this liquidity at this point. I don't see why we wouldn't. My guess is Tuesday probably opened pretty strong since Friday. Yeah, Tuesday should open pretty strong since Friday closed fairly strong. I can see it rising in anticipation of that Fed rate drop. I think that's going to dominate the news. Um, Remember, our pattern, which I'm going to drag that up here, is still valid, and it's valid because we were tracking it on a weekly time frame, and our three, we got four, we got our bearish confirmation, right? So that is reaction to the 1618 level. That was our confirmation. All of this is just a back check now. And until we pass our, the 205 up in this area, I'd say I wouldn't breathe easy about this pattern until we are above, um, well above 620, probably about 620, maybe 630 even. I think at that point, and we might be able to consider this washed out. But until then, if markets want to try to go parabolic, they could run up into here and we could still get a reaction. I find that, let me pull this guy back out. Got him hidden. This is our HSI. So we have room to run, and we could have room to run to the hop. Now, if we cross our HSI and our RSI continues to form divergence, which, look, if we come up just a little bit further and reject, this is starting to going to form rather significant bearish divergence on the RSI. Now, that on a trending market doesn't mean a whole lot. Like it didn't mean a whole lot here, all this way up, or here, all this way up. So keep that in mind. Like divergence on a trending market, it just exists, and it's not something you can trade on a larger time frame. But if we're starting to roll, then it becomes more critical. And you can see that big dip here, and we had, and it rolled. Um, it it's not its own indication, but it is an indication. Got it here too, right? For this, but this was already enough correction, it looks like, and we got a little reaction out of it, but nothing major. I'd expect the same up here. So if we break and hold over this zone, I'm going to wash this pattern out, and we'll claim it complete for what it was. It was just a pause. Um, but I am still. I'm going to take this off just because for me it's out of the picture. Um, yeah, for me, this is still quite valid. In fact, I need to clean a lot of this stuff out. Pardon me. Do a little upkeep. All right. And I have one more in here. There he is. None of that really is giving me anything useful information wise. I'm just going to take it out. All right. So now I'm going to leave this block in because this candle has not yet been recovered. Now, this one wasn't recovered either. They don't always get recovered, but price does like to draw back into them. So if we hit this high, bail it, or we try to break above and just barely curl over, then we need to start watching this zone again to see our reaction to it. Because I feel like if we get close, it'll pull it in like a magnet, suck it back down into this range. That gets us close to our target ranges, which is 41 and 431. But I don't have any indication on the highs yet that we're ready. Yeah, that we're ready to roll back over. Nothing is giving me that signal that it's time to go. And I'll pull on the Qs because the Qs are struggling a little bit more. I think that is a lot of money spreading from tech into other areas where it might be interested in picking something else up. I can close this gap, make it a little bit smaller, and let's add another gap in there. It's not quite perfect, but there we go. And we have our gap above. So I would like to see it come down from a wave perspective. For the Qs, I'd like to see them come down and hit this and then come back up, because then you start getting actionable patterns that make things easier to trade. You come back in and hit that 886 or strike above, right? Maybe the Qs overshoot too. We hit like a one. Let's go with a 127. Be a little higher, but you guys get the picture. There, right? So that could be our overshoot. And this will give us a more actionable structure, more defined way to come back down. In fact, I'm going to take this one off because I feel like this is a little more reasonable at this point. I do want to see a rally into that rate cut, that first rate cut, and then see how the market reacts to that. Look, it is an election year. I know it's September, but election year Septembers are a little different than your typical Septembers. They can be a little more bullish. Um, and Yeah, I would like to see just a little bit more creep up. We have the room for it. Let's use it. Why not? We can get better prices on reactionary now for the Qs. And this is Invesco Qs. This isn't just the Nasdaq. For the Qs, I'm looking for that same thing with a hop level of 205 around 570 with a break over 580 for me starting to wash out like the same pattern we have from the S&P. We can go in and look at the Dow Jones because the Dow Jones hasn't yet hit its 618. And I wonder if a bullish market where these two guys, the Qs and the SPY, come back up towards that hop isn't the catalyst we need to pull the Dow Jones up into its 618 target. Now, this for me, uh, very nice area to watch for a reaction on the Dow, so that we can get we don't really have any good trends there, so that we can get a a good indication for reversal here. We've left a little gap below. That's fine. We can come back for that later. Don't need to worry about that anymore. Right? So we can come back for that guy later. I would like to see it daily. Let me pull the weekly. I want to look, see where the oscillators are on that. Yeah, so we got a good selling tail right off of here. into a buying tail, and we are whipping. This whole area is just whipping, and it's right now. It looks definitely like it's ripping up. I want to see that reaction right here at 42,024, or if you're trading on the DJI, it's just a little easier for me to trade on. I want to see the DJI hit 41,783. I want to see that hit on the futures and see what that reaction is between these two charts. So that's where I'm at. Long term, well, this isn't really long term. This is pretty near term. This is within the next month or two. It's a big move in the market. And for Bitcoin, again, it's a little tougher to gauge because of this kind of middle zone. But I do want to see it hold over. I don't want to see it come down into this range. Now it can, but that typically means it's just gonna be in here longer. If we can leave before coming back to the 618, I think it's a little more likely that, especially if we break up around in here, we can do so and hit our target box. I'd really like to come up and hit this target box. I've been eyeballing this for quite some time now. Honestly, from all the way, maybe not at the lows. I did have up here for the lows, but as we started to come up, I've been eyeing this target range now for almost half a year. I don't know. It feels ridiculous to think it's been that long, but it really has. So, yeah, we'll check up again next week. I got to wrap this one up before I run out of time. And yeah, you got any questions? Hit me up in the comments. Members, keep an eye out. I want to go over some of our other assets that we've been looking at. You guys know what I'm talking about because they're in my other videos. If you're not a member, click on the links below and come and join us in the rooms. We have a lot of discussion going on in there. It's not just me. Fortunately for you guys, when you join up, you get lots of coaches. Many of them have been in the market either as long or longer, or just plain old better traders than I am. So hop on board, come on over, and just join the community. It's a lot of fun, if nothing else. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.